Good morning, friends. Last time we saw about electric field of an electric dipole. We also saw the characteristics of electric field lines. Now today we proceed further. See, our next question will be like this. See how a dipole placed in a uniform electric field will behave. See, the question will be asked like this. Explain behavior of electric dipole placed in uniform electric field. Now we have seen last time that uniform electric field can be represented by parallel and equidistant line. Now suppose a dipole is placed like this. Okay. Now see, the charge on the dipole is plus Q here and minus Q. Now see here, what are the forces on the dipole? Q into E. So that is F1 is QE. Now the second force will be like this. F2 will be minus. Now we know the 2A is a distance between the charge of the dipole. Now we assume the dipole is placed in such a way that the origin of the dipole is at the midpoint. Okay. Now these two are equal forces in opposite direction. So the resultant force on dipole F1 see, that is nothing but translational equilibrium. What do this suggest? The dipole will not perform linear motion. Now, but we have seen earlier in the rotational motion that two equal and opposite non-collinear force produces a torque, forms a couple, and it produces torque. So what is the torque here? Torque is tau 1 plus tau 2. Okay. Now see, the total distance is 2A, so this will be A and this will be A. Torque is force into displacement that we have seen earlier. Torque is R cross F that we have seen number of times earlier. So now here the force is, distance is A into QE. Now if we consider origin, then it will be minus A into minus QE. That will also give the positive. So in that case it will be 2A into Q into E. But we know 2A into Q is dipole moment P. Okay. So in that case this will become P cross E. Now see, torque is a vector quantity. Now see, the A cross B we have seen earlier. A cross B is AB sin theta. So in that case the magnitude of the torque will be given by BE sin theta. Okay. Now see, suppose the dipole is placed parallel to the field. Okay, then it will be in equilibrium. But to rotate the dipole, work is to be done. That is in form of torque. That work will be stored in the form of potential energy of the dipole. Okay, work done to rotate dipole will be stored in form of potential energy of the dipole. Okay. Now what do this indicates? See, whenever a dipole is placed in a uniform electric field, it performs rotational motion. So we can write like this. Work done to rotate the dipole we have written is stored in the form of potential energy. So whenever dipole is placed in uniform electric field, it performs rotational. This is about the behavior of the dipole in uniform electric field. Now see, next will be our short question. What if the dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field? Now first we see how we can represent a non-uniform electric field. Now see, uniform electric field we have seen, it is represented by parallel and equidistant line. But suppose the field lines are like this. Okay, then it can represent the non-uniform electric field. See, another way to represent a non-uniform electric field will be like this. Suppose we assume that the electric field is of the increasing order in the x direction or the positive x direction. So we can say, what we can see, the length of the arrow is increasing. That indicates there is a non-uniform electric field. Now what happens if the dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field, plus q and minus q? Let us say it is placed by angle theta. So what will happen? First, because of the force, it will become parallel, and okay, so till then it performs rotational motion. Let us say initially it is like this. So because of the resultant force acting on it, first it will rotate in the field, become parallel to the field, and once it becomes parallel to the electric field, it will perform linear motion. So what we have to remember, what is the outcome of this? We can remember like this. When dipole is placed in non-uniform electric field, it performs both rotational and not what we have seen for the uniform electric field. See, when a dipole is placed in a uniform electric field, it performs rotational motion. But when the dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field, it performs both rotational and linear motion. So this is about the behavior of a dipole in a uniform and non-uniform electric field. Now, next, we have to see the distribution of charges. Initially, we talked of electric field of a point charge. Then we talked of electric field of a system of point charges. That was discrete charge. We talked about electric field of an electric dipole. Now, we have to see the continuous distribution of charge. In that, we have to see the three things. So next, we discuss the continuous charge distribution one by one. So in continuous charge distribution, we have to study linear charge distribution. Okay, see, that is represented in terms of the linear charge density lambda. Linear charge now suppose we have got a straight wire which is uniformly charge distribution is there. Now how do we define linear charge distribution, linear charge density? See, lambda is given as dq by dl or q by l. So how do we define linear charge density? Charge per unit length is called linear charge density. Okay, now the charge per unit length is called the linear charge density, that is represented by lambda. Now what about the unit of lambda? See, it is dq by dl or q by l. See, the charge is in coulomb and length is in meter. See, the dimension will be q1 upon l1, that is a1 upon t1 upon l1. So we can write m0 L minus V1 A. Okay, this is about the linear charge distribution. Next, we have to see the surface charge distribution. Now see, the surface charge distribution is given by surface charge density. Now we know the sigma is a Greek symbol. Okay, how do we define surface charge density? Charge distributed per unit area is called surface charge density. Now sigma is dq by dA, where A stands for area, or we can write it is Q by A. What is the unit here? Coulomb per meter square. A1 T1 upon L square M0 L minus 2 T1 A. Now in surface charge distribution, we can say a plane surface or a uniformly charged plate, or we can consider a hollow sphere. So in a hollow sphere, charge will be uniformly distributed over its outer surface. So these are the two examples of surface charge distribution. Next, we have to see about the volume charge distribution, that is given by rho. Okay. So third type of charge, continuous charge distribution, is volume charge, that is given by volume charge. Okay, this is a Greek symbol rho. So how we define the volume charge density? Charge contained or distributed per unit volume is called volume charge density. Symbol is rho. Okay. Now rho is dq by dV, where V is the capital V is the volume and Q is the charge, or we can say Q upon V. Now about the unit, charge is in coulomb and volume is in meter cube. Okay, so we can write Q1 upon L3, that is A1 T1 upon L3 M0. Okay, so this is about the volume charge density. First we talked about linear charge distribution or linear charge density lambda. Okay, that is charge per unit length. Surface charge density is charge per unit area, and the volume charge density is charge per unit volume. So this is about the continuous distribution of charge. Now next we have to see the concept of electric flux. Okay. Now the concept of electric flux is useful to establish the electric field with its sources. Now, what are the source of the electric field? See, initially we discussed of electric field due to point charge, then continuous discrete charge distribution, then electric dipole, then linear charge distribution, surface charge distribution, and finally volume charge distribution. These are the source of the electric field. How to relate electric field with its source? That is given by the concept of electric flux. See, the electric flux symbol is phi. So concept of is useful to establish relation between electric field and source of electric fields. Okay, so the concept of electric field is useful to establish the relation between electric field and source of the electric field. Now, let us say this is uniform electric field. You know, it is represented by parallel equidistant line. Suppose we have got a surface like this. Now, remember the area vector. See, this will be useful in some other lessons also. Remember, area vector is always, okay, it is always perpendicular to the surface. Now, let us say this is a plane surface, area vector will be like this. Suppose the electric area is like this, so area vector is represented by A, that will be perpendicular to the surface. Now, see the area vector is A. Okay. Now what we see that this is uniform electric field lines and this is a surface. See, it cuts maximum field lines. So in that case, the flux linked with the surface is maximum. So the flux is denoted as phi is E dot delta A or E dot A. Okay. Now, flux, remember, is a scalar quantity. Okay. Flux is a scalar product of electric field and the area vector. Now, what will be the case? Okay. If the surface is like this, okay. Now see here, the field lines are like this, but area vector is normal. What we see that it cuts none of the field lines. Why? Because see the electric field is like this, the area vector will be like this. So what is the angle between the area vector and the electric field line? 0. So in that case, flux will be 0. Flux is denoted as E dot A. Now here it is EA cos 90. Why? Because we know the surface do not cut any of the electric field line. So in that case, the flux link will be the surface. See. Now what is the case if it is like this? Now suppose the surface is oblique. Now see the area vector will be like this. See, this is electric field E. Now what is the component? See, let us say the angle is theta. So what is the component of a vector? See, in the 11th standard we studied, component of any vector is a product of magnitude of the vector and cosine of the angle made with the given direction. So in that case, here flux is E, and what is the component of area vector in the direction of electric field is A cos theta. So flux is E A cos theta. Now we are familiar with the scalar product. So flux is nothing but E dot A. Now next we have to see about the unit and dimension. Okay. Okay. What is uniform? What is unit of electric field? That is, electric field is Newton per coulomb and area is in meter square. So the first unit will be like this. Now see the another unit of electric field we have seen earlier is volt per meter. Capital V shows voltage here. Okay, that we will see again in the second lesson. Area is in meter square. So this is nothing but voltage unit. Okay, now we have to write the dimensional formula of the electric flux. Now see Newton is m1 L1 T minus 2, meter square is L square, charge is Q1. Okay, now it is m1 L3 T minus 2 and Q minus 1. We can write m1 L3 T minus 2 upon Q is IT, that is A1 T1. So we can write m1 L3 T minus 2. So that will be the dimensional formula of the electric flux. See what are the unit here? First is Newton meter square upon coulomb. Second is volt per meter. And this is how we can write down the dimension of the electric flux. Now next we have to see about the Gauss law for the electric flux. Okay, next topic is Gauss law. Now just now we have talked that the concept of electric flux is useful to establish the relation between electric field and its sources. Now see, the Gauss law is a very important in the static electricity. So the question can be like this: write and explain. Okay, now first we write the statement. Okay, now see the electric flux linked with any surface, any closed surface, is the ratio of charge enclosed by the surface and permittivity of vacuum. Now we know permittivity of the vacuum we call as epsilon 0. So in the form of equation, flux is nothing but Q upon epsilon 0, or we can write sigma Q upon. Okay, so if we can represent the Gauss law in the form of equation, it is given by the ratio of the charge Q, or sigma Q is the charge enclosed by the surface. See, it is a ratio of the charge enclosed by the surface and permittivity. Now we have to give the proof of this. Now we assume that, let us say, Q charge is at the origin or the center of a imaginary sphere. Okay. Now consider, see, one thing we have to keep in mind: whatever surface we consider or we assume the surface is called the Gaussian surface. Now see, the proof will be like this: let Q charge is at origin of imaginary sphere of radius r. Okay, Q charge is at the origin of the imaginary sphere of radius r. Now initially, in the beginning of the lesson, we studied about the electric field of a point charge. Now suppose, let us say, r is the distance, we have to find out the electric field. Now see what we have to find out: force acting on a unit positive charge placed at that point. Now what is the direction of the electric field? What we can see, the electric field will be radially outward. Now we consider surface area delta S. Okay. Now what we can see here, that E and delta S are in the same direction. Delta S is nothing but small area of this sphere under consideration. So here flux phi is E dot delta S. Okay, E dot delta S. Now see, what is the equation of an electric field of a point charge? That we are familiar. E is equal to kq by r square into r. Okay. Now see, any area, we have to consider area is a vector quantity. Later on, earlier we have seen in the kinematics also, then area can be positive as well as negative. So delta S is nothing but area of sphere under consideration, that is 4 pi r square into r. Okay, so here flux is kq by r square into r caret. Area of the sphere is 4 pi. Now see, r caret is a unit vector, its magnitude is 1. Now we know k is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, that we can as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 q upon r square into 4 pi r square. Okay, so what we can see here, this 4 pi r square also will cancel, so q upon epsilon 0. So flux is, okay, Q upon epsilon 0. Q is the charge enclosed by the surface under consideration, that is a sphere here. So this is a generalized formula. Right now we have proved for the sphere, but this is a generalized formula for any surface under consideration. We can derive the formula for the electric flux. Okay, so this is about the Gaussian formula. Now see, as we discussed, the Gauss law is used to establish the relation between the source of the electric field and the electric field itself. So now by using the Gaussian formula, we can obtain or we can derive the formula of electric field due to different continuous charge distribution. So in that case, we start with the first one. See, the question can be like this: derive equation of electric field due to infinitely long continuous charge. Okay, now by using the Gaussian formula, we derive the equation of electric field due to infinitely long continuous linear charge distribution. Okay, now we consider infinitely long wire. Here we represent a part of the infinitely long wire. Now see, for that, see, whenever there is a linear charge distribution, that is given by lambda. So let lambda be linear charge density of uniformly charged linear distribution. Okay, now we assume that lambda is greater than 0. So in that case, we see the positive charge is there on the wire. Now, how will be the electric field of a linear charge distribution? Now let us say there is a infinitely long wire. Suppose we have to obtain electric field at a point A, P, which is at a distance of R. Now let us say, see the infinitely long charge distribution. P is a point where we have to find out electric field. Now we know whenever we have to find out electric field, we have to find out the force acting on a unit positive charge placed at that point. Now see, both are like charges, so the force will be repulsive force. See, the force will be in outward direction. So the same distance we can consider here also, point P dash here at the same distance, then also it will be like this. Now this distance R can be somewhere here or here or here or here. So what we infer from this, see, the electric field will be radial. Then now electric field of linear charge distribution okay. So this is how we can represent the radial electric field. Now by using this condition, suppose we consider point P or Q or R or S. Similar distance we can say here it is R dash, S dash, Q dash. See, in all condition, see, the electric field will be radial. Now we consider an imaginary surface passing through all these points. We consider cylindrical Gaussian surface radius R and length M. Okay. Now see, we have to find out electric field, electric flux. Now let us say this is a point 1. Okay. Now see, the area vector will be like this, delta S1. See, along the sides, area vector is delta S2. Now in the first case, see, the electric field and the area vector are in the same direction. So theta will be 0. So the flux will be maximum. See, the electric flux along the end of the wire. Why? Because the electric field will be like this, area vector will be like this. So the flux will be 0. So the total flux, one we can say 1 and 2, that is phi 1 plus phi 2. Now in the first case, it will be E into delta S 1 plus E into delta S. Now here it is E into delta S1 cos 0, E into delta S2 cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. The flux associated with the end point will be 0. Now here E, okay, delta S is the area of the sphere under consideration. So what is the area here? Area of the cylinder is given as 2 pi r L that we have seen here. That will be E into 2 pi r. Okay, now let us say this is equation number 1. Now here we are talking of the linear charge distribution, linear charge density. So lambda is given by dq by dl, or it's q by l. So q is equal to lambda l. Okay, now see, by Gauss law, flux is sigma q upon epsilon 0, that is lambda l upon E0. Now we compare 1 and 2. Okay, so in that case, E into 2 pi RL is lambda L upon E0. So what happened here? Cancel. So E is lambda upon 2 pi E0 R. Now we can represent in form of vector, unit vector, lambda upon 2 pi E0 R. Okay, so this is nothing but electric field due to continuous charge distribution. Here we have considered linear charge density is lambda. Now see, we consider a cylindrical Gaussian surface of length L and R is the radius, and by using this we can obtain the electric field to continuous distribution of charge.